Welcome. Today I'm going to be taking apart the cylinder head and replacing the valve seals and just cleaning it up in general. If you had told me 2 years ago that I would be pulling apart the cylinder head, I'd probably tell you that's not very likely. I've watched a lot of videos on it. Seems pretty straightforward, so let's just get to it. Regarding automobiles, yeah. Now, if you've been watching for a while, you'll know that I have two cylinder heads, one from my original blown engine and this one from the replacement engine. The reason I chose this one, well, a couple of reasons. One, the other one still has the cutoff piece of the exhaust manifold attached to it. And I thought, a lot of extra hassle would go into cutting that off. And this is the one that was paired with the block I'm going to be using, so I might as well keep them together. There's a little oil everywhere, but keep in mind that I did have some oil spill issues, so I think that's where most of it came from. But really, I just want to clean it up everywhere and make sure the seals are good so I don't have oil leaks in here when I put it back together. My number one concern here is making sure that everything goes back together where it should. All the valves go in the right place, the springs, the collets, the lifter arms, all that type of thing. So we're just going to take it apart and lay it all out here, and hopefully that's an easy way to keep track of everything. Okay, let's get started. Oh, for shit. The hits keep coming. Okay, let's get these out first. Okay, yeah, this cam, like, I'm no expert. Shit. But, I mean, that's just bad. This one has just got a little scoring on it, but I think it'd be okay. I mean, it's like rusty, but like, that's not good. Like, that's not good. I think that's dead. Shit. Okay, maybe I'll be using the other one. Crap. I'm having a lot of luck here. Oh, man. Okay, let's open the other one. Let's open the other one and see how that one looks. Okay, well, you can see what I'm seeing. Like, that's just rust. Maybe from sitting here for too long. Maybe they should just need a polish, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little research. Because I mean, this is what I'm interested in or worried about here. Just that sort of like rusty, and you can feel it with your finger, but it's pretty smooth, but even that little bit of friction makes me a little worried. Oh, for 2. See you next time. Okay, 1 week and $100 later, although I did order some other small things with this. I went to Sneed for Speed or Sneed Speed. They build race engines for minis, and I guess they have all their old cams available for sale. And I could polish this one with the rust on it. That one is destroyed, but I got a fairly good condition one from them, and it was only $40 US. So I thought that was a pretty good investment. Let's keep going. Okay, so you see here I have 2 heads here, kind of half disassembled. I'm gonna put this one, my original one, back together, and I'll just set it aside, and I'll take the cam out of the second one I had, and I'll keep working on that one. So now comes the part where I have to take the springs off. So I've got this spring compressor, which I don't really know how it works. I think this goes on the bottom of the valve, and then this piece up here goes on the spring, or the top of the spring, and that compresses it down. I use the magnet to pull the collet out, and then it all comes apart. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure this one's gonna work because they don't stick out far enough. It's supposed to be universal. I think I need the one where it sticks down a bit. Shit. I now have the correct tool. So I needed this little cup thing on it so I could really get down onto the springs. I got it off Amazon for like 27 bucks. Same as all the other Amazon tools, it comes in like the plastic, blown plastic container, and it came with a bunch of other sizes, I guess for small engine repair. And I tested it already to make sure it would fit, and it will, so let's keep going. At this point, I've looked up whether it matters if I keep the valves in order or not. And the consensus seems to be not really. But I'm gonna keep them in order just anyway. I'll end up reseating them, I guess, later, but for now I'll just try and keep them all in order so I'm not messing anything up. Here we go. Okay, so much easier with the proper tools, obviously, like it always is. Now what we've got is a head with nothing but the seals and the spark plug tubes in. Those I'm not going to take out. These I'll be replaced. Oh, they just come out that easy, huh? Wow, okay. I'm not sure they're supposed to. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was the only one that was really like that. Okay, so this is now free of other parts. Now we have to start cleaning everything. You can see this one, it's fairly dirty on the side. Inside, I guess this is, what are we, exhaust is quite dirty in there. So I'm just gonna give it a spray down. I might, I might actually put everything inside a dip, or use the spray 9 sort of all over it. That same stuff I used on the pistons, and just clean it all up. The one thing definitely want to look at, I'm pretty sure these are the exhaust valves. I'll just show you one that's more clear, I guess. Hopefully you can see that. Obviously they're dirty on the bottom, expected that. But there's clearly like a layer of carbon on these all the way around, and all of them are like that. So I'm just going to, I think I'm going to put these in the ultrasonic cleaner and try and hit them with that the same way I did the pistons. Okay, so that didn't do as good a job this time. That's only after 29 minutes. So let's hit it again. Okay, so that's after two 29-minute sessions. The water's very dirty, but the carbon buildup is still there. So I looked it up. I can hit it with a brass wire wheel without worrying about damaging it. So I'll just do it a little bit and I'll put it back in. Everything you see here are all the parts I need to get this back together. So let me just go over what I did here. The wire, to get the valves clean, and I'll show you the before and after here. I tried the ultrasonic cleaner and it just was no good. So I used a wire wheel, but on a bench grinder. The wire wheel on a drill was just too much work to do. So the bench grinder with a wire wheel, no problem, got it all cleaned up. Also sent this off, the head itself, off to get resurfaced. So it's nice and shiny now. Before I did that, I pulled off all of the valve seals. I think they were probably, a bunch of them were bad based on how much oil it looked like was getting through. So I have new valve seals here. You saw the state of the cams, obviously, or the cam. Obviously it was no good. Actually, both were not that great. So I went to Sneed for Speed, or Sneed Speed, and that's 40 US. So 40 US for a new cam is a pretty good deal. And it's in a nice, polished state. And everything else is ready to go, I believe. The next step I need to do is put the valve guides back in. That's no big issue. I'll just use a little assembly lube and pop them back on. And then I'll need to actually lap all the valves. So that's probably going to take me the longest. And I'll show you that now. Okay, one issue coming from the machine shop, this one here is, show you, see there, it's not pushed back in all the way. So I'm just gonna knock it in there. Okay, this is back from the shop now. And you can see all of the guides are shiny and new, and they are all equally spaced at the appropriate level. Okay, as part of that service, they matched all the valves to the guides, but also obviously polished and matched up the each of the valves to the valve seats. So those are all nice and shiny and new. Okay, we can continue putting this back together finally. It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since this was in the machine shop getting that last bit done. But let it be known that although I don't need to lap the valves, I was fully prepared to do it. I had the fancy tools and the compound. So just you know, note. I would have done it, but because it was part of the other service, I don't have to. With that done, it should be fairly straightforward. We'll go back to what we were doing before. Now I have to push them on and they stay in place. So what I was told was the reason that the guides move, there's two reasons maybe. One is carbon buildup on the valve itself, and it can sort of grate and pull the guide down. The other end is just too much heat and things expand and it moves around. There's two possible explanations. I don't know exactly what caused my problem, but probably something to do with lack of oil, like everything else. Too much oil where it shouldn't have been and not enough where it should have been. So now we just need to move to the valves, putting them back in. Should be fairly straightforward. Okay, those are in. Okay, those are in. So I just need springs and collets now. I think we're gonna have to go gloveless for this. It's pretty precise. And I just need to remember which direction the collets go into, because they're beveled. And the bigger side goes towards the top. And that's a note to more myself than to you. Okay, it's obviously big side up. Who else? How could you possibly forget that? So here we go. Okay, that is valve springs reinstalled. Next step, a fancy newish cam. Okay, I'll just put a little more on, just I don't think it hurts to have too much. Okay. Put the channels back on. Okay. That's fun, right? Now it's time for some lifters. Okay. Oh, see, these are supposed to be on the springs. Hopefully we'll make it so that I can drop this in somehow. Okay, so I'm gonna have to check the order of the bolts and the torque, but let me get the other lifter on. Oh yeah, these ones are all split. So at least you know it's hard to put these on wrong because these ones are connected and these ones are split to get around the spark plug tube. So if you get this wrong, you've done something horribly wrong. Oh wait, hold on. I had this rounded side up. I think I need it rounded side down to fit into the journal properly. There we go. Everything in place, it's all seated. These bolts that go into the journals, I guess the cam journals, rocker arm, are only 21 foot-pounds. So I'm just gonna check. So 21 foot-pounds, but I'm just checking for a tightening order. That's weird. That doesn't. That makes me a little nervous. Why didn't it click? No, I don't like that. Is this broken? Just being cautious by using a different torque wrench to make sure. Okay. Just realized I didn't put any lube on here, so I'm just gonna overdo it here so it seeps down. You should subscribe. That is the head rebuilt. Pretty happy with this, to be honest. It's a big one. Few advantages to doing this. One, it's got new valves, or new valve guides, new valve seals. The valves have all been polished and matched to these seats, which have been, resurfaced, and it's all been resurfaced all around. So no more leaks of anything coming out of here. It should be good for a while. This will not be a failure point. Number two, it's what cool car guys say, isn't it? Like, what'd you do this weekend? I rebuilt the head. So now I can say that if anyone asks. I mean, obviously I'm gonna say it very casually, like, yeah, I rebuilt the head, no big deal. So that's a pretty big advantage to doing this. Another thing is I now know how to do, all of this work. So if I were to get, heavier duty springs or bigger valves, that type of thing, I could probably put together a higher revving cylinder head all by myself. Which would be kind of, money saving because they're pretty expensive, like a Thumper or a Jesus head. Obviously there's some porting that happens there, but I mean, it's not out of reach at this point. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. The next steps are going to be clean this all up, make some room for myself, make one more video of prep and putting the subframe back in and just getting things ready. Then I'll build the engine, so that means, this car is gonna be running in the summer. But I'm actually not too worried about building the engine. I'm more worried about getting it back in there and everything hooked up, like all the cooling lines and that type of thing. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.